Guys, it's finally here. Let's get this thing open.
What the hell? What is this? That's not what I thought it was. I mean, it is a K5 Blazer, but it's not what I thought it was. I'm just kidding, guys. We do have it. It's right here. This is the new FMS FCX10. FCX10. Sick, guys. This thing is going to be awesome. It comes in 3 different colors. You can see right here, we've got the orange, the brown, and the black. We got the black. We got a little antsy trying to open this guy up, and we kind of scratched our box. That's okay. That's okay. Here's the back of the box in case you want to see it. Here's the bottom of the box. You can always pause and check it out. This thing's exciting, guys. We need to open it up. But before we get there, make sure you guys like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell. Do all those things you do for channels you want to support, videos you like. Really helps us out. It's just a click for you to hit that subscribe, but it means the world to us. Guys, I think this is going to be one of the most exciting releases this year. FMS has just really been killing it. They're very known for their scale stuff. They have 10 scale. They're sometimes slightly larger. The FJ40 is closer to like an 8th or 9th scale. But they have fantastic detail. This looks like it's going to also have some fantastic detail. It's going to be a Lexan body, though, so that's going to be cool. It's going to be performance-based. This is more of a performance-based truck. So we have stuff like servo on axle, dig, lockers, ton of amazing stuff. We're going to go through it a little bit more in detail. We'll show it on the back here. But on the front, I just wanted to show you it's licensed by Chevy, so it's a K5 Blazer. We're going to run it this way, the truck style, but it also comes with the topper, all that good stuff. Official badging. From what I've seen, all the badging is metal. It looks fantastic, guys. This thing is so freaking exciting. I cannot wait to get in here. Let's go ahead and look at the back one more time. A ton of good information on the back of the box here. Shows that it comes with a 11-channel remote. Comes with a 550 brushed motor. It's obviously a climber. Also comes with a full ball bearing set, which is cool. It's a licensed body. We've also got a 3-position switch between forward drive, I assume FD, 4-wheel drive, and dig, or between forward drive, 4-wheel drive, and rear-wheel drive. I guess. I'm not sure. We'll have to check that out. Looks like manual settings required, which means you probably have to change something in the gearbox. It's got a 4-link suspension. Hopefully this is a true 4-link. A lot of the smaller FCX10 and 24 say 4-link, but really it's still got the wishbone upper links. Metal chassis guard plate, metal servo arms, rigid metal girders or skids, slide skids, full metal gear set in the transmission, metal threaded shock absorbers, and then portal axles. I would assume those gears are metal, but we'll open them up and look. Also over here it says got factory pre-installed lights, except for the roll cage lights. Powered by magnetic interface from the chassis. So that means there's going to be a magnetic. Basically, you don't have to plug the lights and no wires. You just basically put your body on and it should power the lights. And then the remote control can activate all lights. So that's good. It's not just always on. We also have front and rear differentials that can be individually remote controlled and locked. So you can, from the remote, lock your diffs, which is awesome. And a 2-speed transmission, slow and high speed. This thing, that's why it needs an 11-channel controller, because you've got lights, you've got diff lockers, front and rear. I wonder if they can be locked independently, so you can lock the front or lock the rear or lock both. That would be crazy. So lights, diff lockers, 2-speed, and then dig, and forward only and rear only. Oh my god, so many features. Here's the size specs. 324 millimeter wheelbase, and it looks like a track width of about 249 total width. And then there it is again. You can see we've got the removable topper. There's a front and a back view with the creamsicle orange and white. We got creamsicle orange and white. We got the Reese's peanut butter cup, and then the blacked out midnight edition. And our workspace is more meant for the minis, but these big guys take up a lot of our desk space, so I gotta move things around. Here's the manual, nice and thick, very detailed. Got full exploded views, all that kind of stuff. So that's good. And then, yeah, let's see if we can pull this guy out here. What do we got going on? And here we go. Oh, lost our speaker. That's okay. right. Here she is. Get that plastic wrap off. Man, I love the black. Oh, what? It comes as the cab removed version. That's cool. We have the cab right here. Camper topper? Camper topper? I don't know. What do you want to call it? Put it down in the comments below. What do you guys call this part of the Blazer that's removable? Is it really a camper topper? Or is it a cap? Bed cap? I guess it's a bed cap, right? Looks like we're going to have to put the windows in there. So it's got like a honeycomb kind of thing going on for rigidity. So that's cool. Man, glossy. The problem with black is it shows every fingerprint. But man, we love our real cars are black. My wife's car, I have a Ducati, it's black. I have a 68 Mustang that's black. Everything, my wife's, like I said, my wife's car is black. Her old car is black. Everything's black. Black cars everywhere. Here's our parts bin. So we got bumpers, probably side skids, some light lenses, light buckets. They're probably for this right here. Some stickers for the bed cap. There's our windows. So you can either leave the windows clear or put the stickers on them. Car hopper windows. Hopper? They call this a hopper? I don't know. And here's the meat and potatoes. Let's see, how is this thing? Is this thing attached in some way? Oh, zip tie. Snip. Oh, more zip ties. Snip. One in the back here. Snip. All right. So this is supposed to be FMS's entry into the more customizable comp type, not necessarily comp, right? This is clearly a scale truck, but to compete basically with the Axial FCX10 3s and the Traxxas TRX 4s, this is their competition or their entry into that realm. These are inner fenders, so that's cool. Here's our transmitter. Dip switches. We'll have to see what this is about. Looks like there's a ton of stuff on here. You know, a lot of ready-to-runs come with very low-end radios with not a lot of features. So this thing looks very feature-packed. I like that it's kind of smaller. I like that I can one-handed drive that. Ooh, which is back just a little bit, just maybe like 1/4 inch. But this is still fine. But I got big hands. If you have small hands, you might need a little adapter. But yeah. Got a channel 3 there, channel 4 there, channel 6 here. Don't know what this guy's for. We'll get into it. Even a USB. Wonder what that's for. 7, 8, 9, 10. These knobs, they're knobs. And buttons. Wow. Well, this one's a button. This one's a knob. Steering reverse bind, all of our trims, drag brakes. What are these? Throttle, dual rate throttle trim, steering, dual rate dual trim. Okay. Yeah, interesting. Drag brake. Cool. All right, let's get back into this truck. More parts. Oh, this one actually says free gift. So I guess these inner fenders are an add-on. So I'm sure that the first batch or first certain block of orders will come with free gifts. Looks like we got these. I don't know if there's different ones available or if they'll always be these, but these may not come with later orders of the truck, so just keep that in mind. So we've got this pretty slick little quick release here, clipless body. Just pull these back and then these pop right out. Simple as that. And then same thing on the rear. Just pull back, push down, comes right out. The rear is a little bit harder because you've got the magnets for the lights. These are pretty cool because it allows you to run lights on the body without having to have a wire you unplug every single time. There we go. Body comes right off, and you busted us too. we already been running this guy, guys. I could not help myself. You can see a little bit of damage there on the skid. Yeah, we had to go drive it ASAP. ASAP.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
You having fun, buddy?
Yep.
Whoa, wreck! Whoa! Yeah. Oh! Oh no! There you go. Good job, buddy.
Oh no, I went too far.
Riker,
Yes?
do you want to go climb that dirt pile in the road? Let's go check it out.
Okay.
You want to go do that?
Yeah, let's go ferry.
Let's go over there.
Okay.
Whoa! That was crazy.
Yeah, slow as a sloth.
Slow as a sloth. This way. Come over here. There you go. There you go. And then go up. Turn, turn, turn. This way. Whoa! Oh!
Let's start again.
You gotta go slow. You gotta steer. There you go. Nice. Go that way. Go over there. Yeah. Oh, oh, good job, buddy.
Yes.
High five.
Now back to your regularly scheduled program.
In our little license plate, we didn't peel off our sticker cover. There's like a little sticker cover. There we go. Anyway, all right, let's walk through this crazy awesome truck. Like we said, we've already got the quick release body mounts here. These are plastic bumpers. Somebody should come out with some nice metal ones maybe. We'll start right up here in the front. So these tires are 4.6 by 1.9. They're Super Marshers, FMS Super Marsher radials. They're not truly radial, but they feel pretty good. Decent tread pattern. The foam seems okay. Plastic bead locks. Everybody always changes over their tires anyway. Wait, these are not bead locks. These are glued on. Sorry, these are glue-ons. That kind of sucks. Do wish they were bead locks, but that's okay. Almost everybody changes wheels and tires. Almost every single time you buy a truck, it's like people just buy their new truck and then along in that same order have wheels and tires come along. So I get it. They don't want to waste a ton on wheels and tires that people are just going to change. I do like these tires though. I kind of wish, I wonder if we can acetone them and get the glue off. It may destroy our wheels though. Just some plastic bead locks next time, FMS. Plastic basic crush lock bead locks. Anyway, moving on. Tires seem okay. Foams seem okay. They are vented. You can hear that. Here's our front end. It is on portals, right? We're on portals. Metal links all around. Metal servo horn. See that? Metal aluminum servo horn, guys. That's cool. Very, very cool there. Got our diff locker here. Yeah, buddy. It's an offset axle. That's similar to another brand. They do an offset axle, but there's a couple brands actually that do offset axles from the factory. I remember there was like a preview video, or not a preview, but a sneak peek video, and there were little guards for the diff lockers here. I kind of wish those guards were still there because that is an exposed part. That does worry me. It's a moving part. If you bash that up, you could have some issues. Some little diff shift guards would be good, diff locker guards. It is a true 4-link versus what other trucks that have come with 4-links in the past have said. They say 4-link, but they're not. Shocks feel okay. Springs feel okay. They are a little small on the diameter of the gauge of the spring. The actual spring is kind of flimsy. I don't want to call it flimsy, but it's like it's got a lot of coils and it's a smaller gauge, whereas a lot of other trucks come with less coils but a thicker, stiffer spring. So it's not like it's super squishy, like weak springed, but I think they would have done better to do a little bit thicker coil and a little bit less density on the number of wraps. Anyway, there's our shock towers. No adjustability in the shock towers. I always love adjustability, so that would have been nice having maybe a couple mounting points in here. You would weaken it quite a bit if you did, but it would have been nice to maybe just have two, an upper and a lower. Just out of the box, I would have liked that, but I get it. Like I said, we have been driving this thing a little bit here and there, and I'll tell you right now, it's freaking awesome. So let's see, servo on axle, right? Servo on axle for performance. The scale guys won't like that, but the performance guys will. Servo on axle gets your weight lower. It also helps keep the truck from, you know, what is that called when it moves side to side? Well, you need a sway bar basically. It prevents any of that sort of thing, or when you compress and the tires go woot, woot, woot. You don't have that with servo and axle, so you're a lot more accurate when you're crawling. The articulation and the travel doesn't cause the wheels to turn. So that's the benefit of servo and axle. Plus, the weight is on the axle versus on the chassis, and the weight is lower. So servo and axle, huge benefit when it comes to a performance argument, but when it comes to a scale argument, it's definitely not scale looking, but that's okay. This is not supposed to be a scale truck, right? It looks fantastic. All the body work is beautiful. I guess we should go over that as well. We will in a minute. But as far as performance versus scale, it's definitely meant to be more of a performance truck. Okay. Center mounted motor here with our 21 turn 550 motor, brushed motor, center transmission, a 2-in-1 ESC. I wish it was a separate ESC and separate receiver, especially with the awesome remote. Again, this remote's got so many cool channels and features on it that I wish it was an external receiver and ESC. So that way we could put brushless in it and keep all of our shifts, servos and dig servos and all that without having to swap over to a whole new remote. Because I like this. I actually like this remote. Like, this remote's pretty freaking sweet. Maybe they'll come out with an external receiver. Fly Sky, because that's who this is. Fly Sky, if you are listening, or FMS, ask Fly Sky to come out with an 11-channel receiver, external receiver. We need that. So that'll be cool. What else we got here? I don't think there's anything on the receiver itself other than ports. There's a light port, a separate, it's not a channel, but it's a light port, and it does go to a separate box on the body here. This is a light controller box that's got your signals, your headlights, your brake lights, your reverse lights, all that kind of stuff right through here. So that's pretty cool. Here's a bunch of the specs on the receiver and ESC. You can go ahead and pause it, but I just wanted to walk through some of the basic stuff. You have 11 channels. It's 2.4 gigahertz, obviously. There's your maximum power of 20 dBm. I'm not decibel something, not sure. The protocol is a 2ABS, so if you're looking for Fly Sky stuff, maybe keep an eye out for that. It says it's 150 meter ground without interference. There's our resolution. It says AA x4 or 2S LiPo. Oh, this is the transmitter. I'm sorry, guys, not the receiver. Transmitter. So it does run AA. There's our working current. Let's see, anything else? Single built-in antenna, humidity range, blah, 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 blah. All right, so it's 125 grams. That's not very heavy. Here's our receiver, all the different channels, all that good stuff there. I was trying to find the receiver specs. Where did they go? Here we go. Receiver specs. Sorry. There's that. It's got 6 LED light interfaces on that little light receiver. This is the light control board here. Like I said, that separate light control board. This says it can run on LiPo 2S or 3S. Elsewhere in the manual, it only mentions 2S, but it does say 3S here, and we did run it 3S and had no issues. It scoots on 3S, that is for sure. It's got a 6 volt, 5 amp BEC, your continuous 60 amp or 240 amp peak. 240 amp peak. Says it can run at 370, 390, 540, or 550. Data output is PWM. Resolution, the same as all the transmitter stuff. PPX7 waterproofing, and it's 45 grams. All right, again, all this stuff is in the manual, guys. You can go through and find it yourself or download the PDF. PDF is always good to look at. If you're looking at a truck, you're interested in it, and you really want to read through the manual, there's usually 99% of the time you can find a PDF on these things. So definitely go look for that. All right, moving on back. Our battery tray here is pretty good sized. This is just a standard 2S battery. I mean, I can measure this out if you'd like. Oh, we're still plugged in. Don't do that. Don't leave your stuff plugged in, guys. All right, let's go ahead and measure this out for you real quick. All right, looks like we're right at 47 and a half millimeters here. And then our length, well, let's see. looks like we're right around 141 millimeters in length. I would go with to be safe, because of your wires, I'd say 140 millimeters is where you're going to want to probably be there. This battery, which I believe fits near perfect, yeah, including our wires, 145, but that's going to the wires here. If we were to go to here, we're at 140. So you also could have the wires come out the back. So you get the idea though. 140, 145 millimeters. And then you can go pretty tall here. Let's see your clearance this way. I mean, you could probably go as much as 40 millimeters is my guess without hitting the body. Yeah, you should be good there. All right, so that's your battery compartment. I wonder if it mentions it in the manual. It sure does. 140 by 47 by 30. There you go, guys. Oh, obviously also an XT male. Again, just look through the manual and you'll find the answers. But if you do that, then what am I for? You guys want to see the visuals for sure. We'll talk about it. So adjustable sliders for the body. So that's nice. You can adjust these in and out to fit the width of the body. And then we've got our 4 different servos here. These 2 over here are front and rear locker servos. You can see they're cable driven to our front and to our rear lockers. They end up right here, and they shift this little guy right here. Basically lock your diffs so that they are crawl mode, basically, where they spin the same and they are not independent, versus if you shift it. Let's see, can I move this guy right now? Here we go. Now we're shifted and you can see we're open. So that's for like high speed monster truck. When you're trailing, you want open. It also will give you a much better turn radius if all of your lockers are open. When you turn much better. So that's good, especially on the front. When your front is open, turns way better than locked. Okay, so there's our lockers. These 2 servos on this side are our shift servo to go between high and low gear, and then our dig servo and our front wheel drive only. So the truck can be set up to be normal 4-wheel drive, and then you use this servo to either put it into dig mode, which is going to lock the rear, so your front will spin and you'll lock your rear, and sometimes they call it tank mode, and allows you to pivot on point. People use it a ton in crawling, or you can shift that servo into 4-wheel drive, obviously, where it's just normal, all 4 are powered, or you can shift it again into front-wheel drive only, so your rear will free spin. You'll have freewheeling in the rear, and it'll be a front-wheel drive only truck, which can be really helpful when you're doing certain climbs and different sort of moving maneuvers. You want your rear to be just kind of open and free to move, especially if you have like overdrive and you feel like your rear is dragging you down as you're trying to go up a hill. You could switch it over and it'll freewheel the rear, and your front will pull you up and over. So that's how it comes set up from the factory. You can also change it to be 4-wheel drive, front only, and rear only. So if you wanted to do a rear-wheel drive only truck, you could do that, and you could switch between it, but then you lose your dig. So just keep that in mind. But that is cool that you can set it up with dig or with rear-wheel drive, depending on how you want it to be set up. And then here's our on and off switch. So that's good. The skid plate and all that is modular and removable. These side skids are removable from the chassis. It's a C-channel metal chassis rail. This is all plastic. I thought I read somewhere in the beginning that it mentioned metal sliders, but maybe it meant the rails, the chassis rails. Our C-channels are definitely metal. Obviously, all of our suspension links are metal with plastic rod ends. These are kind of bigger rod ends, but that's good. That makes them beefy, but just know that you could hang up a little bit. These are pretty well inset though. That's a pretty good skid plate. All of our drive shaft angles seem good. They're not like poking down or hanging down. It's a dual piece drive shaft front, dual piece drive shaft rear. I don't know the benefit of that over a single piece drive shaft. Let me know down in the comments below. We don't see this a lot in the mini crawlers, so not totally sure the benefit of having it 2-piece like that, or 3-piece like that, versus just a normal 2-piece drive shaft. I feel like if this stuff does hit on rocks, you have more of a grab point versus a solid, nice shaft. But I don't know, maybe there's a reason to do it that way. What else we got here? Let's see. Flip her over. How was our rear upper link? Our rear upper link truss is just a single mounting point, no adjustability there, but that's typical. I don't know if you can see it down in there. Pretty typical. And then our rear light magnet mount, which again, this thing is freaking awesome. Pop the body off, put the body on, no unplugging anything. Super quick, super easy, fully controllable. Dig that. All right, I think we're good here. Again, we're on portals. We're going to open some of this stuff up and show you what it's about. Let's go on to the body. Let's just talk about that. We didn't really talk about the body. First thing we're going to do with the body is set up our light bar and our cap. All right, we've got our little accessory bag here. This is basically the braces. They go underneath. You put them underneath the bed here when you put your cap on, your bed topper. And then this one goes up in the roof line here. Essentially like this, just to help brace it so that the Lexan does not crack. And then, like I said, same thing here. Now, I think you could probably run the topper without having to put the holes in the top here. So if you ever wanted to go back to this style, you don't have holes in there, you could probably just run the 3 screws here and 3 screws here, and then run your cage or your roll bars with your lights and never put holes in there. I think it would be just fine. If you want that extra security though, you could definitely put this in there and put your bolts in there, and it will help prevent any kind of gapping from happening with your topper. Once you do put holes in here though, you're gonna have holes. I think there might be somebody out there making some like bed caps. So if you do decide to go back to the truck version, you could put some bed caps on here to cover these holes. That would be nice. It'd be like some diamond plate chrome bed caps. That would be pretty sick, just to help cover those up. But I think we're gonna keep it the truck version. So we're gonna get these light buckets on here. Comes with the screws. I'm not sure. Oh, I thought these were double-sided sticky tapes. I was like, no, that's where these are license plate options. Let's see what's in here. Bam, we have some Texas, some Missouri, some South Dakota. And what's on here already? I didn't even pay attention. Oh, hold on, it's on the truck. Looks like we got some Tennessee on there. You can also check out the RC Plate Shop. We have a video about their stuff right over here. And they make custom plates, and they're like hard plastic. I think they even have a metal version where you can get like a stamped metal or a printed metal. They're pretty cool. They're good quality for sure. But if you don't want to do that, it does come with some options, so that's nice. Our screws for our light buckets. What else do we have in here? Just looks like a basic T-wrench and some O-rings. I'm not sure what the O-rings are for. We'll probably find out later. And then our buckets, light buckets, and more screws. So I don't know what these 4 screws are for. A whole bunch of screws for these guys and for the topper. So it looks like we've got 10 of these countersocks. You need 8 of them for these guys here. I think the 2 are just extra. We've got our 4 little button heads here. These guys are going to be for these bucket lights. And then again, I'm not sure what these 4 are for. These maybe are just backup screws. These are definitely smaller than these guys here, so not sure. I'll let you know if I find out. We're going to go ahead and get these light buckets on though. It's going to be easiest to remove our roll cage here, the roll bar, to get those on there. So we're going to get that done. I was wrong. This small bag of 4 screws is for the light buckets. These are going to be for something else. So these little guys are shorter than these ones as well. So that's kind of why we thought these were the ones that went in first, but they're not going to screw into here at all. Definitely a different diameter. These ones are the ones that are supposed to thread in there, but they are very short. So I don't know what's up with that. I kind of wish these were a little longer. Look how short that is. Wish it was a little bit longer, just because that makes them pretty likely to break if you roll. I'm going to see if I've got some longer screws here. You can use these. I would just be aware that you're not getting a ton of threading in there. Like I said, they're pretty short. So the ones that came with are M2.5 by looks like 9 millimeters basically. And we're going to go ahead and use some M2.5 by 12, almost 13, 12 and a half, 12s, whatever. They say 12, but a little bit longer. But yeah, that's going to give us a lot more. Look at this. We'll show. That'll give us a lot more threading. I just don't want them breaking off when we roll because we know we're going to roll. So that'll be a lot better. Bam, super easy to install. I really hope they sell an LED kit for this. That would be nice, just one that, just the right length, can plug right into the LED light box that's into the body, and super easy plug and play. That'd be nice for sure. These little guys should just clip right in. Yep, there's no up or down. They're the same on both sides, so no need to really worry about putting them upside down because it's the same either way. And we'll get it back in the body. Boom, there we go. Looking good. You can already see we've got some scratches. That's one thing about black is it scratches easily. We did take this guy out. We just couldn't help ourselves. We ran it outside a little bit. Got a couple little nicks and scratches here already. But we'll show you some running footage later on in the video. But yeah, there you go. Roll bar. And don't forget you do still have obviously your topper here. This is a hard plastic topper. It's nice honeycomb kind of inside to give it some rigidity. And then you have this little setup here. It's got your windows and the glass. So let's go ahead and get that put together. We're gonna, like I said, we're gonna run it like this. I like the truck look. Also lightens it up just a little bit on the top. And but eventually maybe we'll switch over. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe if we end up breaking these off or something, we'll swap over to the blazer, the true blazer look. Now you do want to make sure your window is nice and clean so that our stickers stick to it. They go to the outside. So you just kind of peel this guy off, and they are transparent. So try to avoid bubbles. If you need to, you can use heat. And don't get fingerprints on there. Then you should just be able to line this guy up and get it on there. We're going to try for our first shot right in front of the camera. Which is probably a bad idea. Man, definitely a little tricky. Partly because the window is slightly curved, just a little. I'm actually going to line it up on the bottom first. Nope, that's not going to fly. There we go. Definitely line it up along the bottom first. It's like putting on an iPhone or cell phone screen protector. You just want to avoid bubbles in there. Yeah, we got one little bubble in there. It's okay. Alrighty, we're going to get the other ones and we'll be back. So those two extra countersunk screws were for this window. So that's why we had 10. Also, I would recommend putting the window in before you put the sticker on the rear window because it has to be centered because it slots in. So if you put it on the glass first on this rear window, you may not be centered and it's going to look kind of not so good once you put the window in. So we're going to do the window in first and then we'll put on the sticker. All right, looks pretty good. It is definitely something you need to be patient with. And even ours didn't come out perfect. You get a little piece of dust or anything in there and it's going to create a bubble. So just try to do it in as sterile of an environment as possible. And that'll help reduce any little bubbles and whatnot. And then these guys should just clip right in. So now we're all set up with our light bar and our cap topper is set up. I just wanted to walk through the details. Again, these are stickers, this chrome sticker, but it is very good. All of the decals, like the Cheyenne logo, this rear piece here, the Blazer logo here, these are all like metal etched stickers. They're metal. So that is freaking awesome. We have our little side marker lights, which do light up. Turn signals, they light up with the turn signals. Obviously our front lights, fully controllable from the transmitter. All of our side details are a hard plastic, so they could break. They're not bendy, but they're all in there with basically body clips, kind of like a lot of manufacturers do. So you can just pop them off, put on the new detail, put your body clip back in, drop some hot glue or shoe glue or E6000 on there. The wipers are movable, so you could set them in a certain way if you wanted to. Again, held in by body clips. All of our buckets are screwed in. Wire brackets, all the wires are taped down. Body clips are part of the grill on the front. Actually, I don't know if it's actually part of the grill. It looks like it might be, but it's definitely a larger piece that screws on part of the buckets here. Yeah, that's all one piece, the light bucket, this front grill piece. I think the grill's on the outside of the Lexan, so again, it's not part of the grill, but it's what the grill screws into and your light buckets are held onto. And then same on the rear. It's just a single piece back here with your light buckets, all that one giant piece. Yeah, so I'm digging that. This is screwed in. It's screwed in through the roll cage here, which you remove when you put these on, obviously. We showed that. And then, yeah, I think we're good. If you did want to put lights into here on your buckets, you'd have to cut a hole somewhere in your body and then run your wires. Okay. So pretty slick there. It is semi-transparent. All right, we got our battery all strapped in now. We're going to plug this guy in. Go ahead and turn on our transmitter. Got your lights there. Lights up in the front here. Turn on our truck. There we go. This is on 2S. And the responsiveness of the servo is pretty dang good. It's not the fastest servo, but seems good. And when we were driving, it seemed really strong, so that's good. Right off the top here, we've got our two buttons. These light up, channel 7 and channel 8. These are for our diff lockers, remember? Okay, so front diff, rear diff. Okay, on this, it's nice that they light up because then you know if they're locked or not locked. This right here is our shift servo, first and second. Let's go ahead and flip this guy over. So first, second. Simple as that. Like I said, we're open right now. Okay, but you can lock it, and it's locked. Very cool. Again, super cool that you can lock the rear or unlock the rear and lock the front, however you want to set it up on the fly. Next, we've got our shift, or our dig versus front wheel drive only. So, we're four wheel drive right now, or you can lock up the rear. That's this switch here. And then we're locked, or freewheel it. So pretty freaking sweet. We also have a channel 3, which isn't really used for anything that I can find. And then our channel 5 right here is for our lights, which will show when we get it on there. Our channel 9 here is a rotating channel. It's not used for anything here, but you do have a spot for it. For like a winch, you could winch out, winch in, whatever. There's a center, so that's nice audible center. Our channel 10 is just an on and off, basically, full left, full right. Okay. The channel 3 also is just a binary 2-position on or off. It's not used for anything as well. And then there is a channel 11 right here, which is kind of a dual use switch or knob. It's for channel 11 and for drag brake. Okay, so you can change your drag brake or use it for channel 11. And then there are different sets of button presses and whatnot to get into the different trims and endpoints for the servos, or the dual rates for the different servo channels. The very first stip switch here is for forward brake reverse or forward reverse, so you can switch that between the two. So if you're trailing on the fly, you can go, I want forward brake reverse because you're going fast. And then when you decide to crawl, you just flip that little switch up and you're good to go forward reverse crawl mode. So that's very cool. You can do it on the fly, no getting in the truck and having to change things. And the second dip switch is for LiPo or nickel metal. Obviously, it's always going to be on LiPo. And then channel 3, 4, and 5. 3, 4, 5, and 6 channel reverses. So just a note on this channel 11 / drag brake for the 2-in-1 combo, it's drag brake only. Apparently they do have an external receiver, and if you're having the receiver only, then it's for channel 11. One other thing I did try finding that I couldn't find in the manual was a low voltage cutoff for the ESC. I don't know at what voltage does it actually cut off so you don't have throttle anymore. Maybe there isn't one. I would assume there is, because almost every FMS truck that I know has a low voltage cutoff. I just don't know what it's set to for this. If you happen to know, you have one or you found it somewhere, put it down in the comments below and I will pin that thing right to the top of the comments. Let me know what the low voltage cutoff is for this ESC. And if it's changeable. I don't think it's changeable though. It's just lipo or nickel metal. So, and then yeah, obviously steering reverse and throttle reverse versus the dip switches. So you do have channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. As far as reversing the other channels, I'm sure there's a way. You just got to do it in button presses, kind of like the endpoints. And one last thing to show on this guy, because I get this question all the time, even though it's super, super simple. Binding. How do we bind it just in case it comes out of bind mode? So right now, turn it on. We are not bound. We're blinking. You can see us blinking in there. Nothing. So turn everything off. Super simple. Hold the bind button right here in the middle. Turn it on. You'll be blinking. Turn on the truck. Ta-da. Okay. Another cool thing, this remote will bind to a ton of already out there RTRs, especially for these little 1/24, 1/18s, the FCX10s and the FCX24s. The ones that use these remotes, this style remote, even the ones without the dip switches, they will bind to this guy. So check it out. We'll go ahead and turn it on, go into bind mode. Turn this guy on. And we are bound. Now, mind you, because there's no telemetry for the battery going back to the receiver, it says it's got low or dead battery. But everything works. Channel 3 works. Oh, channel 3, excuse me. And if there are other channels in that receiver, they would work as well. I'm sure lights, all that kind of stuff. So very cool that you could bind this to your FCX18 and FCX24 and FCX10. So we are super stoked for that. It also binds to like the Furatech 2-in-1s. These guys right here. Yep, it'll bind to those. So that is super cool. Anything that binds to this remote will bind to this remote. I say anything, but I'm not 100% on that, but everything we've tested, good to go. And last thing we're going to do is throw the body back on. Again, no cables to connect, just goes right on there. Line it up on the body mount, clip it down, and you are good to go. Lights are good. Bam. Got a signal. And then also this on the rear. It's more of a reverse light than a brake light. If you do switch it over to forward brake reverse, it acts like this. Forward, brake, no brake light, and then reverse. So it doesn't light up on brake light. But I think you can switch the way the wires are. I think there's an actual true brake and a true reverse as far as the way the plugs are in the light control box. So if you really want to change that and mess around with that, you could. But out of the box, forward, brake, reverse. And then again, just forward, reverse. Reverse is 50% of full throttle. Sorry, we weren't clipped all the way down. Forward is 50% of full throttle, so just keep that in mind. And I'm not sure if there's a way to change that. That would be something nice to change, because I would like full throttle reverse, full throttle forward, full throttle reverse. That's just, I like my truck set up that way, or maybe like 75% reverse. I don't really like the 50% throttle reverse thing. So it'd be nice if that could be changed. Not a big deal if it can't. There are so many features on this thing, it's ridiculous. So I can't really complain about something like that. All right. I guess the first thing we're going to open up is the front portal. So we've already got our tire off, and look, we've cheated. We've already got our front portal unscrewed. It's just the 6 screws there. It actually uses 1.5 millimeter screws. Open her up. There we go. Doesn't look like there's a ton of grease in there. I mean, it is greased up to some degree, but you could definitely use more. So we will be greasing the hell out of it. Next is our knuckle. We already pulled the screws out of that. Be careful not to lose your top bushing. All right, got top bushing there. Yeah, there's our knuckle, and here's our axle. There is a spring inside here, so don't lose that. This side has a spring for the lockers. The side over here does not. There's a little retainer and spring. And there is our CVD. Constant velocity. Constant velocity. Shoot. What is it called? That's right. Drive. Constant velocity drive. CVD or CV axle. Constant velocity axle. Different than a U-joint. So just keep that in mind. Look those up if you want to know the difference. It's pretty interesting. Way too much to go into here. We're going to put this guy back in. See if we can key it. Oh, I keyed in fairly easily. And then we'll put this guy together. Then we're going to do the rear, and I'm actually going to open the diff up as well. I don't really want to open the front diff up just because there's all the steering linkage and whatnot. It'll be a better shot from the rear. Oh yeah, we got to grease this up. We're just going to use some 2,4-C marine grease, some Quicksilver with PTFE. Get this on Amazon. We'll link to it down in the description below if you want to pick some up. Just gives us a little bit of extra protection here. Okay. Get our screws back in and we'll check out the back. I did want to mention there are the standard 12 millimeter hexes, just in case you were wondering. Obviously, they're going to try to use the standard for wheels, so it is that, just to confirm. And then our rears are very much the same as the front, except our top two bolts go all the way down through into the axle. So not only do they hold on the cover, but they also hold on the portal housing. And then there's two screws right down in here, which we'll pull out real quick. And then we will pull off the entire outer portal housing here. Again, stuff is greased. You can see it on the screw. It's just not greased a ton. So if you plan on abusing, 100%, I recommend going through and greasing stuff up. It is all plastic, so do not lock tight, do not over tighten, stuff like that. Loctite destroys plastic, so keep that in mind. All right. And then this guy will pull right out. Should have the same spring. Again, springs are on the passenger side. No springs on the driver's side. Okay. If you're curious, let's go ahead and measure this, just because people might be wondering. The axle shaft is right at 4.4 millimeters, 4.5 millimeters, right in there. Okay. The axle shaft at the hex is 5 millimeters. Well, a little bit more than 5. Once you pull this hex off, it looks like it's a little more, 5.5 millimeter. You know what, maybe we should pull this off and just measure it. So 1.5 millimeter to get this little grub screw out. Well, it's not really a grub screw, axle pin. Okay. And then we can pull our hex off. That guy's pretty beefy. Definitely beefier than the actual axle shaft. 6 millimeters. Again, I'm not huge into 1/10, so I'm not sure if that's standard for an output shaft on an axle. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But that seems pretty beefy to me. But your weak point is more than likely going to be inside here. But with the gear reduction and whatnot, probably totally fine. All right, we'll set this aside. Set this guy aside. We're going to do the other side and then open up the diff. Also, the wheel nuts are 7 millimeters, just in case you were wondering. We've got both of our portals off, our portal axles out. We went ahead and removed our shocks and upper or lower links so that we could flip this forward and backwards to get to the screws. And I noticed it's like attached in the drive shaft in some weird way. Like I can't rotate it forward more and actually remove the drive shaft. So I don't know what's going on there. This will still slide back and forth, but the actual drive shaft will not come out. So I'm going to remove this and we're going to take a look because that is interesting. Again, I'm not as familiar with the larger scale stuff, so maybe this is normal, but seems interesting. I guess it was just the perfect angle to where it wouldn't release enough. That was weird. Hold on, what is going on? This is on there. Yeah, I guess it's just the right angle. It's too much angle, so it won't actually let itself pull out. All right, I don't know what I was thinking there. Used to the little guys, they'll slide right out, no problem. You just undo that. All right, so now we've got plenty of visibility on our axle. You know what? I'll go ahead and pull this upper off, and we'll just get this axle completely out of here so we can get a good look at the insides without having to deal with it. It's still going to be attached to the truck because of our diff locker, but a little easier. This is probably a 5. Yep, 5.5. And we'll probably actually end up opening the front. I don't know if I'm going to show it, but we're going to probably open the front just to be able to get some lube in there if this thing is dry. Okay. Most all the screws are 2 millimeter except for those portal screws that were 1.5. Portal housing screws. Okay, diff cover should come right off. Boom. Okay, that looks pretty greased up. Not too dry. So that's good. And there's all of our mechanics for shifting. Not shifting, but locking and unlocking. And there's our diff. And our pinion back there. Seems pretty good. All nice heavy duty. They're helical, so that's good. It's not just like a straight. I don't know if that's a thing in the larger scale or if they're all helical. I just know in the smaller scale they're straight splines, straight teeth. But a lot of times we upgrade those to helical, which are the curved gears, teeth in the gears, right? Makes it for a smoother operation, and they're stronger, less likely to shear them off. All right, well guys, just thought I'd open it up and show it to you real quick. Again, it's all ran through the cable, kind of like a brake line on your bicycle. And it slides in and out and locks it or unlocks it. Looks good. Looks good. I don't think I'm going to open up the front. I think there's plenty of grease in there. At least the rear had plenty of grease. I would hope the front would be the same. Maybe we will later. I don't know. If you notice clicking when you are in unlocked or locked diff, and it sounds like you're, especially in unlocked, where it sounds like it's kind of clicking as you turn one and the other one's spinning freely or going opposite, you may need to adjust your servo endpoints or trim just a little bit. And you'll want to adjust that stuff just so that this engagement is full and it's not too far or not fully engaging. Okay. All right. We got our portals back together. Whenever you take something apart or build something, always check for binding and make sure you don't over tighten and things of that nature kind of as you're going. That way you don't get the whole thing back together. We get it all back together and then we're like, man, it feels like something's not right. So just kind of test things along the way, right? Make sure it feels good, nice and smooth. Nothing's grinding or binding or scratching. You just kind of feel it out. Okay, I think we're good. I do kind of want to show you this thing working. We're going to go ahead and do a little bit of Loctite on our drive shaft pin, just because I don't want that thing falling out on me. And you will probably have to stick a tiny screwdriver or your driver in there to get that hole to line up, just because your pinion will drop into your axle housing here, into your third member. And then when you push your drive shaft on it, it kind of pushes it in just a little bit, and your holes don't line up. So you might have to stick a screwdriver in there and kind of pull it out and push your drive shaft in to get the hole good to go. But other than that, should be pretty simple. Another thing of note, when you're putting your drive shafts back in, now these are CVD style drive shafts, not universals, but even so, I think it's always a good idea to try to make sure they're in phase. In phase is basically making sure that the angle of the CVD or the universal where they connect is going to be the same on both sides. It may not matter much on these, but again, just good practice. I always try to make the screws face the same direction. This screw facing down, this screw facing down or up, from the camera. And then that should hopefully keep it in phase. If the drive shafts are out of phase, especially on a universal, when you're trying to line up the ears on your drive shaft, if they're out of phase, you get a lot more vibration and potential binding. So I just like to, good practice, try to make sure they're always in phase. All right, we're all back together. I'm going to show you how the diff lockers work here. So right now we are locked. Yeah, you can see that. And then when we hit our channel 8 up here, you can see it switches. It pulls the diff locker out, and then basically we are now open diff. Okay. It'll engage. So that spring that's in the axle is what pushes the locker in. This is more to pull the locker away, the little fork. It pulls the locker away. And then when it lets loose, the spring will let it drop back in. See? All right. So let's go ahead and show you how to adjust the endpoints on this if you ever need to. One, you can do it through the cable, right? You've got the cable here with a little screw, and you can pull the cable through. You also have the cable on the chassis right up here, right? You can adjust it there. But you're also able to adjust endpoints and your trim. So let me show you how we do that. The first thing you're going to do for endpoints is you double click your bind button. It'll start beeping. Then you hit the button that you want to set the endpoints for. You can do it for your steering if you want. Okay. So if I wanted to set my endpoints on my steering, I'll show you real quick. I could limit my steering to like this far. You basically turn it to the max, right? Of where you want it to be. So let's say I just wanted to limit my steering this far. I could hit there, and this is not dual rate, this is endpoints. And then I hit my button, it'll beep once, and then I can go the other direction, it'll beep once. And then, so you've still got full travel right now, but when I hold down bind again to lock it in, now that's our max travel. That's the max distance it'll go. Kind of like dual rate, but it's slightly different. Okay. So you can still turn your dual rate down and have just the tiniest amount in dual rates right here. But endpoints, again, is slightly different. Let's go ahead and put it back. So we'll double click our bind again just to go through it one more time within 1 second. Then it'll give us our full servo throw, and we can set it to where we want to maxed out. Now, again, you don't always want it maxed out, right? That's how you break stuff. But we're going to go to max and then drop it back just a little tiny bit. Hit our button once, go to max, drop it back just a little right there, hit it again, and then hold the button down. And now those are our endpoints. So we're going to do the same thing for our shift or our dig right here. So the other channels are very similar. Basically, you're going to go into your endpoints mode, double click your bind. Then you're going to hit the button you want. Okay, now that channel is basically mapped to our steering. So you can see here. Okay, and we will set our endpoints to where we want to based on, how our setup is in our locker. So now we can adjust our locker. You can see we can set it to how far we want it to go. So we'll go ahead and set this side. You're basically going to turn and click your bind. That sets that side, and then you can go ahead and set the other side. Again, we don't want to go all the way on this, actually. Just enough to pull it out right about once the mechanics stop moving, but the servo keeps going. That's when your endpoint's kind of like, okay, that's far enough. So right like that. We're going to go just a little over what we see move. Right there, I think. Drop it back a little. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and now it's set, and then we just hold the bind button to save. Okay, and then we can test it. Okay, seems good. I can lock it. All right. Seems good. So that's basically how you're going to set the endpoints for all the different channels. Channel 6, I believe, is slightly different. So I did want to point out, as far as setting trims is concerned, you can only set trims for channel 1 and 2 because they're manually here. You can then set the trim for channel 6, which is your dig, your 4-wheel drive, and your rear-wheel drive only. So you can set the trim there. Channel 4 is through this trim knob here, so that's pretty straightforward. It's right there. If you notice something weird happening with your shifting, it doesn't want to fully engage or something along those lines, you probably messed with this trim here. To change the trim on your 3 position here, you are going to have to go through some button presses. I'll show you that real quick. First thing you're going to do is you're going to rotate your steering wheel all the way to the max here, okay? And just to show you, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it down in there, but you can kind of see the dig. You can't see it. Either way, you're going to have to trust it is moving. So you turn your steering wheel all the way clockwise, okay, all the way to the right, and then you double click. Now, all the other servos do kind of start twitching for some reason. I'm not sure what that's about, but the trimming still works just fine. You then trim through your channel 7 and channel 8, and it goes through in 5 units out of 120. So you can max 120 one direction, max 120 the other direction, and then that'll go 5, 5, or -5, -5. So when I do this, when I click this channels 8 and 7, I can see the servo down in there. I wish you guys could see it a little better, but you can see the servo moving, or not the servo, but the linkage moving a little bit here and there. Once you're set, you basically can just hold the bind button and it'll reset, or not reset, but save, and then your trim is saved. Okay, so again, it's basically turn your wheel all the way, double click, things start tripping out, and then you can adjust through your 2 buttons here, and then click and hold and save. And again, that's going to be your trim for your channel 6. That's your dig, your rear wheel drive, and your all-wheel drive, depending on how you have it set up. Again, transmission trim is here in the center, steering trim and throttle trim are the knobs right there, steering dual rate, throttle dual rate right there. Again, to do the endpoints, all you got to do is double click your bind, go into that mode, hit the button you want to hit the trims for, or the endpoints for, excuse me. Like if we were to do channel 10, I could hit that. It's not going to do anything right now, but basically it would make it so that that channel is now on my steering. I can adjust it, set my endpoints, basically set one way, bind, set the other way, bind, and then hold, and it'll reset. And then that channel would now be set with its trims. Anyway, guys, I know I went over it multiple times. I just want to make sure it's clear. It's all in the manual if you really want to look at it, but that's it. It's pretty simple, actually, so pretty cool. So I'm going to go ahead and get this guy put back together. Maybe I'll check the front diff for grease because we did add some here. Just like to be safe, add a little bit of lube there. And then we got to still do our front tire over here, our front portal over there, and grease that up. And then I think we're good to go. I don't want to open up the transmission right now. Maybe when we do a brushless upgrade, if we do a brushless upgrade, we'll open that all up and show you what that's about. But the exploded view is in the manual, so definitely check it out. Download it if you really want to see what it's about. You should be able to find a PDF fairly easily. Be aware when you're putting your diff cover back on, your little shift fork here does have this piece that needs to sit into the diff cover slot right there. So make sure you do that, or else it's not going to go in right. And it does take a little finagling, but you'll get it there. Now, while I'm getting ready to grease up this other portal, I just noticed, and I kind of noticed this before, but I hadn't pointed it out, and I want to point it out. The amount of play in these portal gears is so minimal, it's ridiculous. Like, it's got less play than like the 24s and 18s that run portals. Like, again, you can see it's moving the drive shaft here. before it really has a ton of play in it. And if I hold the drive shaft, you can kind of see it's moving here down in the axle. So most of the play is actually going to be in the diff, not actually the portal. If I throw this guy back on here, you'll get a better representation of the movement. But let me hold the output here, this, so you can see the gear play in the portal. If I hold this, you can see that's the amount of play it's got. That's it. Very minimal. Once I stop there and I hold here and we see the play that's in this plus the diff, you start to get more play, but it's still not a ton for being portal axles, right? And then once you get into here, you got a little bit more play. But overall, pretty nuts how little play is actually in the portals themselves, right? Like that's crazy. Pretty cool. Anyway, I'm gonna get this off. I'm gonna grease this up. And I just want to show you just remove these two screws here and you can lift up your battery tray fairly easily. It pivots up a little. Wires end up restricting you, so you'd have to unplug all your wires, but yeah, you can get in there, see everything. I'm gonna pull out these back screws here, pull the whole tray out real quick and show you. And there we go. There's our transmission and shift setup and dig setup. Pretty straightforward. There are servo savers on there, so that's good. Even these guys have servo savers for the lockers. Pretty easy to get to. We just had to twist this out of here because these are pretty deep into the C channel. So we had to like twist it and needed to pop out without taking these out. If you took these out, you could just slide it forward and it'd come right out. But yeah, pretty simple, guys. I'm digging it. Went ahead and pulled out these 4 screws on the motor transmission housing. Just four little screws there, and this guy comes right out. There's our mount. Multiple mounting positions. Seems good to me. And we are greased up a little bit in there. There's a slipper. You can see there it's a slipper on the spur. Which, you know, good or bad. I'm sure you'll be able to lock that slipper if you need to. It's also adjustable. You can see you adjust it right there to make it tighter and looser. More loose. But yeah. Easy to work on. I dig it. Everything's probably like 4 screws away from being able to get to it or get it out on most of the stuff. So I like that for sure. Yeah, that just fits right on there. Easy peasy. All right, we got her all back together, looking all kinds of good. We still have our free gift to put on. That's these guys. Boom. Inner fenders. Need to put those on before we go driving some more. Help protect our insides. These should just be like 3 bolts. 1, 2, let's see. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. 3 bolts each. Just pop out the bolts that are already there and throw the inner fenders on. Should be super simple. This one even has the cutout for the on and off switch. So, yeah. Looking good. Let's get those on. All installed. Looking good. Let's see how this body goes on here. Should still just snap right on, no problem. Yeah. Look at that. Nice. I'm digging it, guys. This thing's looking freaking awesome. It's been a blast so far, and we can't wait to drive it a ton more. And we usually do mini scale stuff. You know, we always don't push the front down all the way. I feel like it's in, but it's not. Because there's two little clip, or I don't know what you want to call it, 2 little grooves in the body, so you could actually ride the body higher if you really wanted to. See that? There's 1 notch there and 1 notch there. We always stop on the first one, but just push her down. Good to go. Our body always gets stuck if we're not careful. Anyway, all right. Now, before we go out to, I think we're going to go to Red Rocks and drive this guy. I wanted to show you the weight. There you go. So it looks like we are literally 50 front, 50 rear, 50 side to side. Total weight of 3,560, almost 70 grams. It's got the battery in it, by the way. And our battery does have an extra extension because it's got Deans, and we need to go to Deans to the XT60. But so that's a little bit more weight, but not anything that matters. But yeah, looks like we're like straight up 50, 50, 50, 50, which is pretty cool. You know, ideally for crawling, like more hardcore crawling, you want a 60-40 weight bias. So I think getting, you know, some weight up front will be helpful. Also, I'm curious if you're to pull this off the roll bar here and put on the cap, how much more it's going to weigh. Let me get the cap actually. And I forgot, you can't take the roll bar off when you put the cap on because the roll bar actually helps hold the light magnetic bracket in. Well, you could, I guess. You'd have to pull it off and have some sort of you put a nut or something on the other side of the screw because the screw screws into the roll bar that holds the light bracket, the magnet bracket in. So you could pull it off if you want to save this weight. And then, like I said, you just have to put some nuts on the end or something. But if I was just to throw this topper on here, looks like we are at a little bit rear bias now. And again, we've got the light buckets on there, but just 1%, not a big deal at all. It looks good both ways. I don't know. I don't know what to do. I think we're gonna leave it like this for a while. If we end up breaking one of these lights off someday, then we can always go back to this guy here, or maybe we'll just get a second one. I think my dad would love one of these. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Let's go drive this thing. So we're gonna head off to the rocks up at Red Rocks. We got tons of people here. And that, you can't see it, but the line goes all the way down. Tons of people up in the rocks. Yeah, buddy. guess. Ugh. Alrighty, here we go. I don't know what all we lost, but we lost something because I saw it go flying. Part of our fenders. Here, let's get our quick release. What are we stuck on? There we go. Okay, so what is this? A rear fender? Oh, that's what happened. There's that. Dunzo's there. That was a hell of a fall. Let me show you guys the fall. Hold on. We were at the little tree there. So yeah, that's probably, I don't know, how many feet do you think that is? 30? 25, 30? We were right there. Fell, hit this ledge. Fell. I think the tree might have broken. No, I don't think the tree did break the fall there. Yeah, if only, right? Oh, all right, so that's all busted up. I saw something else big come flying off. I don't know what it is. We got to look here. Oh, the back, that whole back piece. Dunzos. We saved our light though. We got a light still, so that's good. How's the truck? That's what we care about. Let's see if we got any bent axles or anything here. Nah, looking solid. Servo's good. Shift's good. No broken shock mounts. No broken servo. Stripped servo. No bent axles. All right, well, seems all right. Guess we'll put the body on and do some more crawling. Well, there you have it, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the video. We definitely put this thing through its paces. And in true square body style, we've got some quarter panel damage. That's from our roll. Our lights still work. We did lose a signal, though, for some reason. I don't know what that's about. Front panels here, also cracked and busted from that roll. I mean, that was a big roll. It was a big fall. So, but enough about that. Our lights survived. We mentioned that we thought that these would probably be one of the first things to break off. We did put a little bit longer screws in, but they did not break off. And I'm sure if it fell directly on the top here, they probably would have, but we got lucky. We got our mirrors. Didn't lose any mirrors or door handles. We literally lost nothing but some Lexan. Didn't lose our light. It's still in there. So all the details are still there, which is freaking awesome. There she is underneath, a little scratched up there. As far as the truck itself is concerned, the only thing that broke is this right here, and it was totally bent down, so it took a hard fall for sure. There's a little crack right there in that quick release mount, but everything else totally good to go. No bent anything, no broken anything. As far as axles, drive shafts, links, shock mounts, everything is still solid as all get out. And we're still plugged in. Whoops. Overall, though, I gotta say this thing is a beast, guys. Super fun, super durable, pretty capable for the type of truck it is. I mean, we're not the best driver, and we usually drive the minis. And when we took it out and really were driving it a ton, when you're filming and stuff, you're not really focused, right? And I said I did take it out a little bit before. I saw my son drive it, just kind of messing around with it and having fun, trying to experience it like a newer person would. I think this truck is going to be a huge hit with newer people and an entry point into the hobby. If the price point is what they say it is, which you'll have to check, we got links down in the description below for all the purchase links. Some of them are affiliate links, some are not. It just depends on where you go and if we have an affiliate program there. It helps out the channel if you do click an affiliate link. It doesn't cost you anything extra. But if you want to see the price, I believe they're under $400. So that is insane for the amount of features and the durability of this thing. The quality is all there. This type of platform, so there were some spoilers released, and I've seen a lot of different feedback from different people. And there's people that are like devout FMS fans, and they love like the FJ40 and the Michigan and some of the older 10th scale. They're a little bit bigger than 10th scale, some of them, but they really love the details, right? It's all about scale details, and they're hating on this platform because it's not a scale platform, and it's not supposed to be. This is not what this truck is for. You can scale it out, put a hard body on there, whatever, but it's still servo on axle, which is not scale, right? It's not proper for a scale truck. You want servo on chassis for that, just like a real truck would have with the, panhard and all that good stuff in there. But this guy is not meant for that. This is meant to be kind of a more performance-based rig. And then on the flip side, when you say that, you get the true performance guys that are building $2,000 competition rock crawlers, and they laugh. They're like, performance-based. But what they're not understanding is that this truck is a middle ground, right? It's not a scale truck, and it's clearly not a hardcore competition crawler. But what it is, it's a more performance-based, highly detailed trail rock crawler rig. It's meant to be more appealing to more people, because not everybody's into totally scaled out trucks that they have to baby and shelf queen dollhouse builds, and not everybody's into $2,000 comp rigs. There are people out there that just want a fun trail truck to go rip around in the trails, hit some logs, jump over them, hit some rocks, jump over them, rip through the dirt, do a couple little bashy sessions, and then when they get to their destination of rocks or whatever, they're able to go in there and put the thing into low gear, utilize their dig, utilize their lockers, lock up those axles so that they're not, freewheeling, because freewheeling open axles is good for trailing because your truck won't roll over as much, better turn radius and stuff. So you can lock all that stuff up and hit the rocks and crawl, and it can hit some insane lines for a totally stock truck. A little bit of weight in the front, maybe some no foams or flub RC inserts, some slime balls. Or actually, I think the big ones are called flubber stuffers. But some wheel inserts or tire inserts, maybe some little bit of weight in the front. This thing would be super, super capable, even more than it already is. So yes, it's a more performance-based truck compared to the previous FMS trucks, right? It's going to be upgradable. A lot of the older FMS trucks, there's not a lot of aftermarket support. This guy, I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of aftermarket support for this. I'm sure some of the big companies will come out with stuff. Also, I wanted to point out that it looks similar to a lot of the other rigs in this category as far as just the layout is concerned, whether it's a T-word truck or an A-word truck. They're all similar, right? Like, there's only so many ways to lay out a rock crawler or an RC truck, right? Like, you have axles, you have a motor, you want the motor front and low, you want a battery center mounted, like, generally speaking. Just good design principles, and if you follow those, they're all going to be kind of homogenous and similar. So that's another unfounded hater comment that I see a lot, is that it's very similar to other trucks, and I'm like, they're all the same, right? Like they're all very, very similar. And people like to use the C word. We'll put it on the screen. But none of the parts are interchangeable, so it's clearly not that. This is all designed specifically for this truck. So, I mean, you could obviously put wheels and tires on it because that's interchangeable. And there might be I don't think the diff covers would be interchangeable with any of the other trucks, or, a drive shaft. You can make things work, right? And in this hobby, especially in the small scale, you see it all the time where people will take like an FCX24 and an FCX or a Traxxas and an FCX, and they slap parts and mix and match parts. Of course you can do that stuff with modification and whatnot. That doesn't make any one of those trucks a clone of the other truck or anything like that, because they're similar, right? So I'm tired of seeing that kind of hate on this kind of stuff. It is what it is, and people are going to say what they want, especially people that are highly devoted to a specific brand. We try to be as unbiased as possible. We do love a lot of the FMS stuff, but I'll say it, there are weak points to some of their things. Some of their older scale rigs, the ESC and those things are horrible. That's the first thing I would upgrade. On this guy specifically, I think the servo is a little weak. It's a little slow, and when you get it stuck in a rock, it can kind of just not want to go all the way. But I get that, because a lot of times the number one upgrade usually is wheels and tires, and then people like to upgrade their servos, right? The other weak point in this guy, I think, is the shocks. So the servo and the shocks are a little, like I said earlier, they kind of have more coils and a thinner gauged spring wire. I'd rather see like a thicker gauged spring wire with less coils, make it a little bit more stiff. Just a little bit, maybe. I don't know. It feels really good, but that was the first thing when I looked at the springs. I seemed, maybe not on those. But everything else, guys, the motor, the ESC combo, I wish I had a pass-through for a channel 2, because then we could go brushless without having to rip out electronics. But I hear there might be a 11-channel receiver that'll pair up to that remote. Of note, I don't remember if we mentioned it in the video because this video is so long, sorry, but that remote, the transmitter that comes with this, will pair. You can bind it to all the other FlySky Protocol FMS trucks. So all the FCX24s, FCX18s, even the Hobby Plus stuff and the FearTech stuff, you can pair this to that truck. Anything that's that smaller remote. I don't have one in hand. I was going to try to show you guys. Oh, this. Even the FMT little monster truck that they've got, little 24 scale monster truck that runs on this, you could pair this remote to this 10th scale, or the 10th scale remote to that guy. So pretty cool that all that is interchangeable. I'm really hoping to see an external receiver, just a standalone receiver, so we can go brushless easily. I love the lights, the quick release, and the lights, awesome. It does take a little bit of getting used to. You usually want to pop the front off, pull the little levers here, pop the front off, and then do the back. If you do the back, because of the magnets, every time you go to pop the front, the back drops back down. So don't get frustrated by that. Always try to lift the front first, then lift the back. Makes it way easier to get the top off. But yeah, guys, this thing's sick. Again, we don't do a ton of larger scale stuff. 10 scale, we're the shop mini RC. But this guy, we definitely had a good time with, and I think this is going to be a hit this year. We smashed it, crashed it, and bashed it pretty hard. I mean, this body is just in a bad place at this point, you know what I mean? Not just from that, but like, I don't know if you can see how it is just tore up. I mean, we scratched the hell out of it. We were not gentle on this thing by any means, so I want to put it through its paces, and being a 10th scale, it's just kind of fun to bash harder, because little guys don't bash very well. I mean, like that little monster truck, that bashes pretty well, but the little crawlers, they're not good bashers, not that this is meant to be a basher, but anyway, we're ranting here. All right, guys, really appreciate you sticking all the way to the end. If you guys have made it this far, you are troopers, true troopers. And if you like this kind of content, tell us down below what you like about this content. We tried in our little driving video to show the truck driving without music, so you could hear the truck, but then when it got super windy, we'd throw some music on there, make it a little bit more entertaining. Because we had some feedback on that. A couple people were in some comments in previous videos were like, well, we want to hear the truck run. So I definitely was sure to leave that in there. And little things like that. At some point, we'll probably try to get into transmission, probably when we go over to brushless. So make sure you like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell. You do that so that you know when the new videos come out. That way, when we do go brushless, you'll see the pop-up for the video. And it helps support the channel. And we really appreciate all the support we get from our community. We have channel members that help support through different levels of membership there. There's also benefits. You get to see videos before there's ads on them and before anybody else, plus other benefits and whatnot. And then we also have the swag, obviously, which helps support the channel. We don't really make a lot of money on it, but it's more about promotion and advertising and things like that. But yeah, all that support, just a click for you on that subscribe button, but it means the world to me. Anyway, you guys have made it this far. Why don't you put down in the comments below so that I know you made it this far? Let me think. What do we put in the comments down there? Why don't you just go ahead and put down there the FCX10 is a square body beast, or just put square body beast down in there. Let everybody know. At some point, we'll probably, again, it's all about time, right? Be cool to like rust this guy out. Get our little rusted quarter panel here, especially since we were able to keep our light here. Didn't break out. Even our Chevy thing is dented. It like bent the whole thing in. Anyway, it's a square body beast for sure. Little insider info. I don't even know if I should be saying this, but nope, I'm not going to say it. Sorry, guys. Sorry, I was going to say it, and then I thought a little harder, and I can't. But as soon as we can, we will mention some more cool stuff about this platform. So get excited, guys. It's not going anywhere. This platform's not going anywhere, and the support for it's going to be awesome. So, yeah, if you're looking for a new trail rig or your first 10th scale, if you're looking for your first 10th scale, this guy is amazing. This is a great entry. Comes with everything you need except for your battery, right? You need your own battery and charger, and then transmitter batteries, obviously. But yeah, it's a great truck. Seems like it's gonna be a great platform, and I'm excited to see where this thing goes in the future, guys. Get out there and build something awesome. Buy an RTR, upgrade it. Build a car, build a course, build a community. Community is super important, guys. Get out there and crawl with your buddies. Get your friends out there. Introduce new people. Hand over your transmitter. Let somebody else run it. We let a bunch of people run this guy. It's one of the nice things about being able to get product like this from manufacturers is we can just hand it out. And if somebody breaks it, it doesn't hurt us as bad. Obviously, that's an advantage here. And so a lot of people are like, man, I could never put my truck at risk like that. And that's why we have an advantage as reviewers and YouTubers, at least the ones that are trying to do it right. We're able to push the trucks a little bit harder than normal because if they break, we're not out our personal money. It does suck. Trust me. I hate that it did that. It's not like I'm trying to do that stuff. I like to keep my stuff nice. But it definitely makes the impact, no pun intended, the impact less difficult when you do break something. So I'm never scared to give out trucks to people, let them run them, let them experience and have fun, try to get them into the hobby. Actually, while we were out at Red Rocks, there was a couple hiking, and they were like, man, because there was a bunch of crawlers out there, like, what is everybody out here doing? We're out here crawling these RC trucks. And they're like, really? They were a little bit older, and I offered the truck up to the wife, and she was like getting the biggest kick out of it. She had the biggest smile. And then the husband's like, yeah, let me try, and let him try it. And he's like, man, I might have to get one of those. So it's just really cool to see people that have never really experienced RC get into RC. And again, not trying to promote this truck for that, but like, this is a great truck for that, just because it's going to be durable. It's bigger. A lot of newer people, when they see the minis, they think of them as toys, although they're a good price point to get in. But this thing's going to be an amazing price point for its size. So I think it's going to give the other competition more competition now. So anyway, guys, I'm ranting. Smash them, crash them, bash them, get out there, build a car, course, community, all those things. Be sure to subscribe, and we will see you guys next time. This video is a beast. All right, peace.